Well, hello again. This is another opportunity to do a mindful moment. Today's one, though, is going to be in two parts because there's quite a lot I'd like to cover. I've been chatting recently to some folk who are finding getting to sleep or staying asleep quite difficult at this time. Obviously, insomnia and sleep difficulties are with us a lot of the time anyway, but particularly during lockdown and particularly during the extra pressures that we face through COVID-19 and the pandemic and all the anxieties that can raise to do with isolation, worries about the future, economic, financial situations, health, all that kind of stuff, which is huge. There's no surprise, is there, that actually that will help exacerbate any kind of sleep dysfunctions that we might suffer from. So today's session, it's really, there's lots of help out there, isn't there, on the internet and things that we can find out about how to make our environment the optimum kind of situation that helps sleep. So we probably know all the things about not eating a heavy meal before we go to bed, not watching anything too violent or too active on the television, trying to reduce our screen time, trying to make sure that our room where we sleep hasn't got too many things in it that remind us of things like if we've got a workstation there, or if we've got the telly there, or if we've got a big pile of ironing that's just been waiting and we haven't got round to it. So something about getting our situation and our environment comfortable for sleep. They're the sort of obvious first case things that you would look for, and looking at how we start to get to sleep as well. Sometimes practical things like a couple of drops of lavender oil on your pillow can help. Sometimes just having a warm bath that's relaxing. And there's loads of suggestions, loads of practical hints out there, isn't there? But what I'd really like to focus on today is what happens when we're in that situation. We've either had a couple of hours sleep and we've woken up, it's the middle of the night, we're all alone and we're wide awake and our minds are whirring with all sorts of things which perhaps during the day we've been able to suppress and keep down. And so one of the things that mindfulness can do is to help us not quite detach ourselves from this way of thinking that keeps going round and round, but help us to cope with it better. And mindfulness, as you're probably aware, those of you who've watched any other of these mindful moments, is all about trying to help us recapture that sense of the present moment. Too often, I think it's 47% of the time, our minds are wandering and we're not fully present in the activity that we're actually involved with. And sometimes that's good, because we do need to plan things out, but sometimes it can diminish that sense of fully being part of the activity that we're doing. And so sleep is a time when actually, or rather lack of sleep, is a time when sometimes our thoughts completely get out of control. And in the harsh light of day, we probably think, oh, of course that's a silly thing to think. But in the middle of the night, it's a different matter. So what I'm going to suggest is I've got 8 altogether, but obviously I'm not going to do them all now. I've got some very simple meditations, things to think about when you find yourself in that difficulty. And mindfulness is all about not suppressing our thoughts, but dealing with them in a different way, so that we're observing the thoughts that are going through our mind rather than acting upon them. So I'd like you to just settle back, get into a nice situation. If you're in bed, obviously, get yourself nice and comfortable on your back. Make sure that your shoulders aren't too raised. I find myself, as I'm about to try and get to sleep, I'm like this, and I think, actually, that's not going to be very helpful. So it's about consciously unhooking your shoulders, if you like, and just lying straight down. Be nice and comfortable, taking those 3 deep breaths where you breathe in, hold it, breathe out, hold it. Probably on the count of 5, and each time try and do it slower and slower, so that actually you're just concentrating on your breathing. You're concentrating on the way that your body feels as it's supported by the mattress, how it feels with the weight of the duvet, if it's heavy or light, if it feels nice and comfortable. So bearing that in mind, what I'd like you to do now is to concentrate on your breathing. So you would close your eyes and you would just notice your breathing. Turn all of your attention onto this natural pattern of breathing. Feel the air as it enters your body and how it leaves your body through your nose, through your mouth. Try and visualise that air as it passes through your mouth, down your airways, into your diaphragm, and then back out again. And as you're doing that, scan your body for any points of tension that you might feel. You might feel your back feels quite tense, or your shoulder, or your face feels quite tense. Visualise your breath reaching every part of your body. Starting with your forehead, visualise your breath as if it's reaching your forehead and then it's just relaxing, going out again. Start with your forehead, go down to your chin. Sometimes we hold tension in our chins because we're gritting our teeth or we're in a lot of pain. Go down to your neck, your shoulders, and releasing the tension. Every time you take a deep breath in, release that tension. So that's a deep breathing exercise that you can just use as you're starting to feel anxious if you're not able to sleep. So another one, which is called floating feather. Close your eyes. Think of a gently flowing river. Now visualise the many times in your life that you've been carried easily from wakefulness into that deep and peaceful sleep, as easily as a feather floating gently downstream, just as a river has its set course. Recognise that a part of you already knows that way to that restful sleep. Now just let yourself be carried downstream. Let everything go. Feel yourself being lulled and carried safely on that gentle current into a deep rest and finally into sleep. That's 2 exercises that if you practice and you get to know the script yourself and that feeling, they're good things to be able to do to help us to get into that nice, gentle, settled sleep. But the key is to notice how your body's feeling and to try and be in that moment. Sweet dreams.